A shocking new congressional report shows just how far communist China is willing to go to kill Americans with its drug trade. But is the Biden administration trying to cover it up? Welcome to the channel exposing the crimes of the Chinese Communist Party. When Biden became president, he promised America that the grown-ups are back in power. He made diplomacy the cornerstone of his foreign policy, especially toward China. Of course, this meant that the U.S. sometimes had to make concessions and literally bowed China. Secretary of State Blinken is clearly not thrilled when Biden calls Xi Jinping a dictator. His soul seems to be leaving his body at this point. In fact, the Biden administration has been trying to keep the Chinese spy balloon story from Americans so it won't interfere with Blinken's planned trip to China. But perhaps some concessions can be made to an authoritarian regime if more important things are at stake, such as the fentanyl crisis. On average, more than 200 Americans die every day from fentanyl overdoses. And most of that fentanyl, or at least the chemicals to make it, comes from China. This has been going on for a very long time. Obama talked to Xi Jinping about it when he was president. Trump did the same thing, and so did Biden. Biden even lifted sanctions on China last year in exchange for help in containing fentanyl. But hey, it's not that China didn't try. In 2022, the Biden administration released a report on synthetic opioid smuggling. It was originally ordered in late 2019 under then-President Trump, but Biden officials ended up staffing and writing that report. It said China had taken steps to curb fentanyl production. The problem is that China is the only country in the world where fentanyl is used legally. China's chemical and pharmaceutical industries are too large for the Chinese government to control. The real problem is underground illegal manufacturers working with drug cartels. That's why we need to work with China to fight fentanyl. But there's one small problem. It turns out this report was a lie, or at least a naively optimistic version of the truth, because a new report from Congress, not the Biden administration, shows that Chinese fentanyl production is being supported at the top. So did the Biden administration try to cover it up? How did they cover up the spy balloon story? I'll tell you more about that after a pause. According to this shocking new report from the Bipartisan Special Committee on the CCP, the Chinese government isn't just turning a blind eye to fentanyl production, it's actively supporting it. The investigation found that as far back as 2018, the CCP has provided direct government subsidies to companies exporting fentanyl and other synthetic drugs in the form of value-added tax refunds. Let me repeat that. Chinese companies receive tax rebates from the CCP for exporting illegal drugs. It's not like the CCP is really trying to curb fentanyl production. The CCP has also given grants and awards to companies known for exporting fentanyl. CPC officials have been inspecting these plants. Some fentanyl exporters even employed party members. And when the U.S. tried to cooperate with China and allow U.S. investigators into these factories, Chinese authorities warned the targets of the investigation. But hey, it's easy to warn companies of an impending inspection when the CCP owns those very companies. Yes, some of these companies are state-owned. For example, one of the companies that exported dangerous illegal synthetic opioids was Yafeng Biological Technology. Yafeng boasted of 10 years of experience and guaranteed that it could package its illegal drugs in a way that bypassed other countries' customs. And Yafeng belonged to a Chinese prison, a prison known for raping, torturing, and killing Falun Gong practitioners. So let's be clear, the Chinese state prison where prisoners of conscience were tortured and murdered was also making money exporting illegal drugs that were killing Americans. Consider this for a moment. This is in addition to the evidence we already have that the Chinese triads and money launderers who worked with the drug cartels to ferry fentanyl also had direct ties to the CCP. In fact, there is an excellent book on the subject, Deliberate Ignorance by Sam Cooper. You should read it. But so why did the Biden administration give a completely different interpretation in their 2022 report? Were they so committed to engagement, to not wanting to anger China, that they saw fit to hide the truth? The truth that 200 Americans have been dying every day for years because of the drug war waged by the Chinese Communist Party. Even if they weren't actively trying to hide what the CPC was doing, they weren't revealing it. The Biden administration at best naively believed the CPC when it claimed to be trying to stop the fentanyl trade, when in fact, the CPC was instead literally making money off of this deadly drug trafficking. I know it's hard to believe that the man smiling at you and shaking your hand is actually plotting to kill your countrymen. But China, under the rule of the Communist Party, is not a normal country, and the Biden administration's biggest mistake is to treat the CCP as a normal country, to act like they are normal, including the fact that they naively gave the CCP the benefit of the doubt for supposedly really trying to stop fentanyl exports. It's just too complicated for an authoritarian state with total control over its people. Look, the CCP is a Marxist-Leninist state, and their real goal, which they themselves openly talk about, is the destruction of America. The CCP hates it when I constantly remind people of this fact. That's why the Chinese state media calls China uncensored, shameful, anti-China garbage. And as a thank you to everyone, I'll answer one of your questions at the end of these issues. Today's question is from Pat Quinn. Is it possible that China could be excluded from the WTO? Is it even possible? How could that happen? For example, it looks like China is trying to dump BYD EVs into the US market. There are other examples as well. Great question, Pat. Yes, there's dumping electric cars and millions of other examples of China violating WTO rules and regulations. The problem is that there is no mechanism to exclude a country when it has already joined the organization. This has never happened before. There is talk now of attempts to reform the dispute settlement system, but they are not making much progress so far. There are also rumors that the U.S. may withdraw from the WTO or create a new alternative organization. But all of this is bogged down by the problem outlined in this issue, the politics of engagement. The idea that we need to work with China, that never works because, once again, China is not a normal country, and it cannot be perceived that way as long as the Communist Party is in power there. Thanks for your question and your support, Pat. Thank you for watching the video. Let me know what you think. We'll see you next time. Thanks for watching, everyone, and don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. Wishing everyone a great mood and productive days.